So today I'm excited to introduce a new voice you'll be hearing on Safe Space this season, and that's Cassie Coccaro, Head of Communications at Thorn. And before we dive in, just want to say a quick thank you to my former co-host John Starr for helping build Safe Space into what it is today. And we're excited to carry it forward into this next chapter. Cassie brings a really important perspective to this work, thinking about how we communicate complex trust and safety issues, how we make them resonate, and how we move people to care and take action. Beyond that, Cassie is a wonderful person to work with. She puts her heart and soul into everything that she does, not least her work here at Thorn. So, with that, Cassie, welcome to Safe Space. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much. I feel great. What a nice intro. Thank you. And I agree with you. John's shoes are big shoes to fill. So I echo your gratitude there. And yeah, I'm just really excited about this.
Yeah, we'll do our best to fill his boots, but really appreciate you stepping in and filling in the role.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So, Cassie, like all of our guests, you have to answer our favorite question. What did young Cassie want to be when she grew up?
Yeah, so two things come to mind for this question. One is I always wanted to be a writer, and I do get to write all the time now. I'm not doing what I thought I would do, which is writing like the next great novel. But I do get to write. And then the other thing is I wanted to be on the radio, which is really funny because now this is here I am, doing this podcast, and it's probably the closest I'll ever get. So I think young me would be happy to see me joining Safe Space.
Yeah, yeah. Well, talk about fulfilling your dreams, late on into your career. So we're really happy that you're on this journey with us. What drew you into communications and eventually into this space?
Yeah, so communications was always for me. I actually remember being in school and we'd have to give a presentation or a talk, and I noticed all the time everyone around me was like sweating bullets, and I was like, I'll go first. I just love sharing things, bringing people together, which I think is really what communications is at its core, or at least at Thorn. That's what I try to bring to this work here. And just like bringing humanity and different perspectives to things, especially complex issues like trust and safety and like child safety. So, yeah, I've been in nonprofit communications for about 15 or 17 years, something like that. And I've worked with a lot of causes. And this is the first one that I feel so personally connected to. And it's just really great to be here doing communications here at Thorn.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough subject to talk about. Was there a moment when this work became personal for you?
The moment this work became personal for me was the moment I learned about Thorn, like well before I even worked here. I had a friend who worked here at Thorn and used to tell me about what she was doing. And I said, I need to be part of that. Like, the thing is that online life and offline life are kind of the same now. They're just life, right? And it's happening with or without us. So I'm just glad to be here, part of the group of people who are contributing to safety as we're doing it. And especially now, as the world is changing so much and generative AI is woven into everything, and the stakes are really high. So it's personal for me every single day. And I'm just lucky to be here doing it.
What's especially challenging about communicating issues like child safety and online harm?
Two things come to mind. One is that people really don't want to look at really hard things. And trust and safety, especially child safety, where we sort of sit here at Thorn, those are really hard things to look at. And I think my job as a communicator and the communications lead at Thorn is to make the stakes feel really real without overwhelming people and like kind of paralyzing them beyond wanting to act. And then also, it's just a complex child safety is a complex issue. Trust and safety is a complex space. And I think as humans, we're not great at communicating nuance and keeping people's attention. But the truth is that has to be done in this role for people to really understand and want to act and make a difference no matter what their role is. So communicating that nuance and keeping people's attention is really hard.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, given how hard it is to effectively communicate about our space, what are some common misconceptions or common misunderstandings about this space?
Yeah, I'll speak more generally to trust and safety than just child safety because I used to think this way too. I think everybody, like I was saying, nuance is hard, right? And the world tends to think that trust and safety, platform safety, is kind of like black and white. So before being really entrenched in this space, when I would hear about a harm on a platform, whether that's a harm to children or other humans using platforms, I would just have this sort of negative feeling about the platform generally. And I didn't totally understand that there was this like brilliant, passionate army of people behind the scenes at almost every platform you can think of who cared so much about those stakes and about keeping people safe. So I think that's a common misconception. It's certainly something I come across when I talk to my own family and friends. It's like black or white. These platforms are good and they help us, or they're bad, and it's not that easy. I think these issues that happen on platforms when it comes to safety are really hard and complicated. So that's kind of a myth that I make it my personal mission to bust in this work.
And we hear so many stories, right, these days about how technology is harming kids and how kids are not safe online. It can really be hard to kind of sort through that noise, right? So, in your experience, what kind of stories actually break through that barrier and make people care?
Yeah, I think the answer here is going to be kind of obvious, but it's the human stories whenever we can tell them. So statistics matter, research matters, understanding those things. But really, when you understand the human impact of a story, that's what I think breaks through the most. And that's honestly why I'm really excited to be here doing Safe Space, because the whole point of this is to show the human side of trust and safety. And there is a huge, beautiful, amazing human side of trust and safety. So it's a really nice synergy to be doing this now.
Yeah, that's the part I love about this the most. Learning about the people behind the work and the people that are driving this space forward. So you kind of preempted my next question. At Safe Space, you're stepping into an ongoing conversation here. What excites you about joining Safe Space at this moment beyond getting to know the people behind trust and safety?
Yeah, a lot excites me. It kind of sits at the intersection of what I love doing, which is bringing people together, right? It's getting some traction, I think, in the trust and safety community. That is partially because of what you and John have built over this time. So I feel like I'm sort of joining something that has momentum. Co hosting with you is going to be so fun. And it's a different creative challenge for me. And that's something that I'm always looking for. But most of all, I'm just looking forward to meeting all of these incredible guests that we're going to be bringing on. It's going to be a privilege to be able to ask them questions and get inside their brain and their work a little bit more than I would normally get to.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. We have a really good lineup of guests this season, and I'm excited for you to join the conversation. So, are there any topics that you're really excited to dive into with our guests?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about just how the tech world is changing and what that means for safety, of course. But I think my family and friends all know how much I love just like getting to the core of someone and talking about the human side of things, like we were talking about. So really understanding where a person's, like their humanity meets the work, and understand what that really does for their work, for the platforms they work on, for the people they work with, and digging deep in that way is something I'm excited about.
All right, Cassie. Well, thanks for helping us learn a little bit about you. I'm sure your perspective is going to be a welcome addition this season. Really understanding how to communicate the complex issues of trust and safety. So, I'm really looking forward to the conversations we have lined up, and really appreciate you lending your voice to Safe Space.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be great.